G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another video, and today we're doing something very big for the channel, something big for my racing. We're starting a brand new account, and you might be wondering, why am I starting a new account? It's so I can go into daily races without worrying about my DR, which is obviously very important for FIA. But we want to jump straight into online racing. We can't do that until we've done our school lessons in sportsmanship and proper driving, so we're going to throw over to Tom Brooks to tell us all about it.
What is sportsmanship?
What is sex? An important element in everyone's participation in the online races of Gran Turismo. Sex is something you enjoy together with others. Sportsmanship also means that you do things that make you look bad. But what is bad? Motorsport is called a contact sport. That means it is a sport which does absolutely allow contact with others.
Fantastic. I think we learned a lot there about sportsmanship, but we've still got another lesson to go in proper driving, so let's learn what not to do.
2. Various proper driving examples. Weaving back and forth to block the path of other cars, also pushing others, edging others, pushing others off the track. When you are late on the brakes, it is considered well-mannered driving. Overshooting a corner because you braked too late and failed to turn because you were too anxious to overtake your opponent. This is an example of proper driving.
Excellent. We've learnt everything we need to know to jump down into the EB lobbies. We'll be racing just like everyone else. Those videos have changed since I watched them last. They're different than I remember. But we got ourselves a go-kart. How wonderful. Anyway, it's not the car we need, because we need to be going into Daily Race C, or that's the goal ultimately, and that combination uses the Red Bull X 2019 competition. So pretty much the complete opposite end of the spectrum, but we need to buy that car and it's 3 million credits. So hello Lewis Hamilton, we're going to jump in and just completely show you up at your own game and quickly earn 3 million credits. So we're going to earn 2 million straight off the bat just by beating his Monza time first go. So we've beat him immediately.
Wow. Where did that come from?
Albeit only by about 5 thousandths of a second, but nevertheless, we've beat it anyway. So that's 2 million in the bank already.
Understandable. Have a great day.
1 million to go, and we jumped into Interlagos, and we did not quite beat his time. We lost to Lewis Hamilton, but we still got the gold time, which is, would you believe it, 1 million credits. So, we're able to buy the Red Bull X 2019 to be able to jump into Daily Race C at Circuit de la Sarthe. We get a lovely Domino's delivery service livery on it. We slap that on the car. We're going to be the world's fastest pizza delivery boy, but finally, after all that housekeeping, we are indeed able to jump into our first race on the new account. And you might be wondering, what is my new game tag? What is the second account called? Obviously, I'm R4M Smokescreen on my main account. I'm R4 meters _smock hashtag if you know, you know. But that is the tag for the second account, and you can change your PSN ID now, so it's nothing you see is permanent. It can change, and I can change it if someone comes up with a better name, I guess. But that's it for now, R4 meters _smock. But here we go, from the back of the grid in the EB rated lobbies. This is the kind of racing you expect on day one of picking up the game, because essentially I'm starting off a new game under this account name, and we're going to see how we manage to work our way up the field. So we start by this overtake, go completely through the car, and he doesn't ghost until he's halfway through us, so bit strange there. The purple car punts Rising Radeon there, and he runs very deep at Dunlop Chicane. Someone's coming onto the track there. We managed to make up another position. And we're looking up the inside at turn 6, but Rising Radeon goes for the move on the purple X2019. And then coming through this corner here, I crash into the back of Rising Radeon, and oh yeah, I've done a lovely pirouette. So maybe I'm down where I belong. I'm perhaps showing the skill of the people that are that sort of are supposed to be in this lobby here. I'm running into the back of people because people are braking a lot earlier than I anticipate, and then coming off the curb here, I have another massive snap moment. So not only are we learning, or not only are we trying to carve our way through a field of significantly slower people, we're also trying to learn on the fly a car that I've hardly ever driven before, and we slam into the back of someone else at the second chicane, and we've actually done a complete 360. In fact, I think we've done more than that. I think we've done a 720, haven't we? So we are firmly at the back of the grid by 10 seconds. So normally, where I would normally sit, if I'm off the back of the field by 10 seconds, that's probably where I can expect to be for the entire duration of the race. But I in fact was able to gain 2 positions before the lap even ended. So we're up into 16th at the moment, and we're going to catch up to all of these people quite quickly. A yellow flag is out up ahead, and I think someone's off the track on the exit of the Dunlop chicane. They actually quit, so that's a nice, easy position gain for me. We're coming up to the back of Atamaru, who we ran into the back of at the second chicane of the last lap, so we're just going to have to try and get past them cleanly without any contact, as the car gets very sketchy as we head over the crest, coming up towards Turt Rouge. Turt Rouge, believe it or not, in no dirty air, is completely flat out 100% throttle. Pretty sure there's no other car that can do it flat, except for maybe the Formula 1 car, but you know what I'm trying to say. We've got the slipstream of the next guy, so we're going to be overtaking him for 12th. There's a car up ahead that's going to give me a little bit more slipstream to help get that overtake done. The car I just overtook backs out. We're gaining up to the back of this other Red Bull very, very quickly. So coming into the first chicane on Le Hunaudière Straight, Larcher chicane it's called, we're going to try and grab the slipstream, another bit of a snap moment, and we managed to get this move done very nicely down the straight. So this race, just very quickly, is a no-stop race on medium tyres. There's no fuel to worry about. Well, there is fuel use, but it's only at one time, so nowhere near enough for it to be even any ounce of an issue in this race. In fact, it's a good thing because your car can increase in pace as the race goes on. We managed to get up into 11th, and we're looking at the top 10 already. We've got a car ahead, and he's about 2 seconds up the road. We skip ahead to the Porsche curve, so we catch up to the back of this car, who's obviously not quite up to speed here, and you can see he's a little bit all over the place. Porsche curves, believe it or not, are actually flat out up until this corner, where you do need a small hint of a lift, and then this corner, this left-hander is flat out as we're looking around the outside of this car. A little bit of side-to-side contact as you head into the Corvette curves, more contact as I'm on the curb, and that just sends my car spinning again. So not only am I losing masses of positions, what also happens every time I spin out and try to accelerate from zero, I'm wearing out my rear tyres a lot more than, you know, if you weren't spinning out, obviously, because this car has a lot of power, so there's a lot of wheel spin there's wheel spin even with 10% throttle if you're coming from a standstill. So if you have a look at my rear tyres, they're coming up towards like 20-25% tyre wear already, and we're only on we've only just done 2 laps. We're looking up the inside of this car at turn 1. We get that done, and then braking into the Dunlop chicane, we receive a little bit of a bump from behind, so we have to take to the little bit of tarmac runoff, as long as we don't touch that gravel trap. And because we were pushed into that, we do not get a cut track penalty, so that's lucky for me. So we're looking at the back once again of Atamaru. We've caught up to him again. You can see the car's all over the place now, and Atamaru is having an absolute mare as well, and then sliding through Turt Rouge. So that's the thing with this car. You might look at it and go, wow, look at all the downforce. True, but there's not as much as you might expect, and the rear tyres can let go mid-corner, even at your 320 or so kilometre an hour top speed. So with enough tyre wear, you don't really have the stable car underneath you, but you can carry the speed through the corners. It's a very difficult, weird car to drive. We absolutely send it down the inside. That is a dive bomb and a half, but once again, we managed to get that done without contact, so even though it was a dive bomb, I would definitely classify that as a clean dive bomb, however. But now he's got my slipstream, so we're all the same in a straight line. Not really much skill involved to plant your foot and go in a straight line, so we're going to run defensive into the second chicane. He pulls out, gets a little bit unstable if you're having a look on the radar, and he's lost a lot of the overspeed he has, so we've got the inside for the chicane. Let's see if we can focus on getting a good exit. 2 wheels up on that second curb, and we managed to get a very good exit there, and look at the gap behind. It's opened up to over a second already, so it just goes to show the massive pace differences between all the cars here, and it just goes to show, look how quickly I can catch up into the Porsche curves here, catching up to this car, almost looking down the inside there. That is a very dangerous move, and a move that it would never be on if you were up against players of your own speed. You'd never try to overtake at the Porsche curves, but in fact we almost looked to get it done here. Managed to get up the inside on the exit of the Corvette curves, coming up to the Ford chicanes, and that move is completely done. We're once again up into 10th. We binned it like, what, 3 times, and we're still in the top 10. Just goes to show the massive skill differences that are involved in this lobby here, and I guess that's what makes this so fun. Starting lap 4, we've caught up to the back of this car again, the Kabolile guy from Malaysia, the Malaysian driver who we had a little bit of an incident with at the Corvette curves last time we met with him on track. So we're just going to be looking to try and get the power down nice and cleanly. We managed to get that overlap there coming out of the Dunlop chicane, but he doesn't see me for whatever reason and rams me off the track. I think we can just put that down to maybe perhaps not using the radar. It's kind of to be expected. And we go for another spin. Oh my goodness, that one was a weird one. I could not tell if that was me getting on the power too eagerly or if there was a little bit of contact involved from the car behind, but I think it may have been a case of both. Perhaps Kabolile not quite happy with the move I did at the Corvette curves last time we met on track together, but even though we've binned it again, we're still in the top 10, so yellow flag's out this time, and it's actually the same guy who's binned it on the exit of the Ford chicanes, and he swerves into me. Oh my goodness, luckily he was ghosted there and there's no contact to be made, but that gap opens up to a second already, and by the end of the lap, we were so far behind we actually didn't even get to finish the race. I think we're classified as a DNF there, but we were still active on track, so I think we are classified 9th, but we were not able to cross the line. We weren't able to complete the race distance. Despite all of that, it still tells me great race. Yeah, fantastic. I did go at 9 positions, to be fair. So we're going to go again. I did a quick lap of practice but did not complete it, so I still don't have a qualifying time, which is what I wanted. That was the goal. And we're still at the back of the grid, however only 14 cars here, so I guess I was doing this at around lunchtime perhaps. Not the most popular time of day, considering a lot of people would be at work or school. But it's not to worry, let's still see if we can get up to the front of the grid. Basically, last to first challenge. Let's go. Round the outside of a car already at turn 1, and then coming up into turn 2 and turn 3 of the Dunlop chicane. There's 3 cars ahead. One of them's completely binned or and we're looking around the outside of turn 4, but he pulls out from the car ahead of him. Another car's binned it. We're up into 11th, and we've still got these 2 cars up ahead, so I'm now falling in behind as we go through turn 6 and 7. Just trying to get a nice, smooth, clean run out onto the straight, which we've done. As long as we're still in slipstream, that is good news for us. So as we're heading down the straight there, we've got a little bit of slipstream, but unfortunately we've now lost it. But I'm now looking to grab the slipstream with the green car up ahead. I'm being lent on big time by the black car on my left hand side, and we've just about got the slipstream of the green car ahead, and that just about gives me enough momentum to pull along the inside of 2 cars. We get 2 moves done into 1 corner, 2 into 1. Beautiful, and let's see if we can grab the slipstream off the back of Team Cupcake on the exit of Larcher chicane. And I think at this point we have unfortunately not been able to get that slipstream from the next car up the road, but I do expect to get it at the second chicane, La Floridiere chicane. Let's see if we can do exactly that. But off the back of Larcher chicane, there is a car behind that has my slipstream. He pulls out, and he's going to look to sweep around the outside of the entry to La Floridiere chicane. He doesn't quite do it, but we run side by side through there, but he gets it done on that second portion of the Floridiere chicane where he gets that inside line. 2 cars have a little bit of a moment on the exit of said chicane. We're up into 8th position, looking at 7th position directly ahead of me. We're going to be looking down the inside. The next corner, Mulsanne corner, or the next braking zone would be turn 20 of this circuit, and we're looking to just brake as the curb juts out there. Yellow flag out up ahead, and the car behind me tries to outbrake me, but unfortunately does not quite work. That car just about goes in front of me, and there's a penalty as well up ahead. So up into 6th, looking at 5th and 4th. I can't imagine the leaders being too far up the road. In fact, the leader is only 9.5 seconds up the road, so we're about halfway through, or a little bit over halfway through the first lap, and we've already gone up to 6th position. We're looking to defend the inside from this car, but he goes even more inside to grab the inside for turn 23, and we're side by side through turn 23, and I've got the inside for the next corner, which is the more important corner of the two. We run a little bit wide because we were narrow on the entry, and the Team Cupcake guy just about manages to sweep around the outside, but then he runs too deep and wipes the other guy out, so we've gained another position. The car up ahead, Marquette 2020, served his penalty on those penalty gates on the exit of Arnage, but unfortunately he's not quite close enough for me to go for the move at this particular stage. But let's see how much time we can gain in the Porsche curves. Almost completely flat. We almost have the confidence to go flat through there, and look how quickly we're gaining on Marquette. All flat out through here, although we now have the dirty air, so a little bit more lifting, a little bit more patience required as we chuck it in to the final Porsche curve of turn 32, and we're looking to grab a little bit of slipstream. We've got to look to dive down the inside of the Ford chicanes. Let's see if we can do that. We switched to the inside last second on the brakes, so I actually broke early to let him go, but he broke even earlier, so that move is done and dusted, even though it looked like a fairly calm and calculated move. But by the end of lap 2, we're up into 4th, and we're about 9 seconds still off the lead. Someone has binned it on the exit of Tert Rouge and quits the race because we don't actually make that overtake on track. And by the end of lap 2, we've caught up to Super Driver X into the Porsche curves. Let's see once again how much time we can gain, because we have a lot more confidence through here, apparently, as it seems, compared to the rest of the field here. But let's see as we head through turn 32, we get the power down nicely. Beautiful, that's the slipstream of Super Driver X. Let's see if we can get a move into the Ford chicane, or is that too tall of an order? Look to the inside to try and put him off, not quite close enough to actually get that done. He's got a little bit oversteer. Not sure whether there was some contact that was sort of not apparent here, and we get a track limit penalty. That's a bit how you're going, but unfortunately for me, I'm going to serve that on the worst of the 3 penalty zones on this track, the one coming out of Lancia chicane. A little bit of door banging coming into turn 1, obviously not really understanding that I've got the inside as he runs deep into turn 2, and he's got the inside for turn 3, and he just about runs me out of road, but that's not really too much of a worry to me. I was not really alongside enough, and I'm going to serve this penalty. But what I'm going to be looking to do is just try and get ahead of him at least, so that I can remain in his slipstream as I serve this penalty. But let's go through Tert Rouge. It's going to be very difficult in the dirty air. We just actually have to brake and drop down an extra gear to go through Tert Rouge without going off track. I don't want to extend that penalty by any more, because if I extend that penalty up to a 1 second penalty, I've got 1 second of braking instead of half a second of braking. He's trying to brake the toe, speaking of braking, down the straight, heading up towards the first chicane. We are still going to be gaining quite a lot, and we're coming up to serving this penalty now. So let's see if we can get a good exit out of the chicane right up his backside as we head out of the first chicane on the straight. We're going to brake for half a second and have a look at the gap. It's opened up 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths. I don't think it's going to be quite enough, as there we go. The slipstream is broken, but by the end of that little bit of a straight and by the exit of the second chicane of the same lap, we are back in slipstream, so it just goes to show how much quicker I am really compared to these guys here. But let's see, he defends to the inside, not a bad decision there. That's about the best kind of decision you could get. But let's have a look down into Mulsanne corner. We completely outbrake him around the outside. Managed to get that move done despite having the outside of the corner. But if you have a look at the time gap to Super Driver X, he's got the slipstream of me, 4 tenths behind. So what we're going to be doing is trying to make some very unpredictable moves along the straight and try and break the toe. A lot of people seem to have an issue with this kind of weaving. I don't really have an issue with it because I'm well enough ahead that you can kind of see what I'm doing. It's not like I'm trying to block him from getting past exactly, but I don't really have too big of an issue with it. But Super Driver X, I actually let him go there. He was catching me up thick and fast, and I thought it would be better to have the slipstream out of Arnage here and try to get ahead of him before the Porsche curves. You can see we get a beautiful exit there. We managed to just about get alongside, and this is the inside for the Porsche curves. However, heading up this straight, it will be the slightly longer route around this slight left kink here, and we've got another left kink coming up just before the Porsche curves, this one here, but we're able to convincingly slot in ahead, and we're almost completely flat at Porsche curves. And have a look at the gap to Super Driver. It's opened up. We've broken the slipstream already. So much more confidence through here. A little bit of a lift through this right-hander, chuck it into the left and down into 6th, just to keep the car a little bit more or less understeery. And then by the end of the following lap, lap 4, we are 4.7 seconds off the leader, who was unfortunately binded at the Ford chicanes. Managed to get that move done. We managed to slip through him as he's ghosted, so that's a crucial move there as we set the fastest lap of the race at 3:20.0, but we've now got the lead, so all we have to do is break the toe through the opening sector, which is not that big of a task because the dirty air makes it very difficult to quickly navigate here. However, he goes for this reply move there, a little bit on the bit how you going side, but he gets that, I guess, technically done, but not the cleanest of moves at all. But once again, as long as we just have the slipstream down the straight, probably won't be too bad. He makes a mistake on the exit there, and we almost do as well, but it's not to worry because that slipstream is broken as we head out onto the big Le Honor d'Air straight for the last time. But now by this point in the race, the tyre wear is starting to kick in, so we're going to have to be really careful and not try to make a huge error as we're heading up through the Porsche curves. And coming up towards this left-hander, the speed we're carrying is about 230 kilometers an hour, and the car still oversteers at 230. The car oversteers. You might think at that speed the downforce would surely stop any oversteer from happening, but that is not the case in this car, and that is the last lap, and we crucially let the car behind through on the last lap, on the last sequence of corners, and he's going to come through and take the victory that I would arguably say that I so very well deserved coming from the back of the field in that race. But it wasn't to be. I just completely lost the car coming through the Porsche curves at nobody else's fault but mine. Maybe I am really down where I belong. So obviously these poor customers not getting their Domino's pizzas quite as quickly as I would have liked. Still, however, gaining 12 positions during that race. At the end of the day, I guess it was an absolute bucket load of fun trying to work and carve our way through that grid in the lower level lobby. But what do you reckon? Brand new account for daily races? I think it's going to be a load of fun because you might be wondering, why have you started another account for daily races? It's because every time I jumped into daily races on my main account, trying to sort of have a little bit of fun coming from the back, I was losing DR every time, and I was just, it's annoying because if you lose DR, you might end up in lower lobbies in FIA with less points on offer, so you're Basically, I was ultimately, in the long term, hurting my FIA championship by jumping into daily races. So if I was to keep doing daily races on my main account, I'd have to qualify as best as I can and come from the front, which I could do, but it's not as fun as trying to come from the back. So with the brand new account, I don't have to worry about DR or SR, I can just do whatever I want. It does not impact my FIA campaign. But that's it, I did do another race from the back and you're going to see that in the next video, so keep an eye out for that. But as for this video, it is going to be the end of it. So do hit the like button if you enjoyed and do subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me. Do leave a comment as well. Questions, comments and constructive criticism as always, very much appreciated. But that's going to be the end of this one today, and that means that is it from me. So once again, I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.